Hey, Brad and I are here, and thought that instead of trying to write out a long little explanation, we'd throw together a quick little video about our upcoming preaching pattern, or what we plan to do for the next few months. And we've been doing the Revised Common Lectionary for about 5 years. And in each bulletin every week, we've offered 4 scriptures. And that's going to change this coming Sunday. And I was talking to Brad, and Brad and the youth started going through the Gospel Project, and it's kind of a narrative Sunday school curriculum. And we thought that maybe it'd be a good idea that all of us kind of take a little narrative approach to things. And I had a question for Brad that he's been doing it longer than anybody, and I wondered if Brad had any thoughts about why maybe we would do Mark again.
Right. It fits real well with our schedule and thinking about Christmas and Mark's gospel. There's really no birth narrative, to be honest, and so in thinking about that, beginning after Christmas, it's a great opportunity to work our way through the story of Jesus as Mark tells it. My wife loves Netflix series, and so do I. And so you get caught up in the series, and you kind of think of it like watching a TV series, starting from the beginning and going that way. And Mark's perspective really works well with that kind of attitude and moving towards Easter in the end of March.
Yeah. Well, one thing you'll notice is the passages may be just a little bit longer. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times with the lectionary, though we've liked its variety, sometimes they cut off a verse here or there just to kind of tie it in with the other passages. And so sometimes we're left needing to reading before and behind to get the full context of what's going on in that particular passage. So we'll kick off with Mark 1, and there's 20 verses. Now, I hope that's not a lot of verses for you. We really, we're Baptists. We talk about being the people of the book. We figure we read it at least a little bit. And so what we want to do is we'd like you to read along with us beforehand. And maybe something will strike you out of that. I mean, I hope you caught Brad said Mark is the gospel, one of 2 gospels actually. It doesn't have a birth narrative. And Brad, for quite a bit of time, people have made a big deal about Jesus's birth, but it's an interesting note when you find out that both Mark and John don't have birth narratives. So, Brad, what do you think might be a thought for maybe this coming Sunday? Do you have anything you've thought about?
It's a great kind of beginning with Mark to dive into John the Baptist, even though we've already talked about John the Baptist in the Advent series leading up. It's kind of a new thing as John meets Jesus, and you have this baptism narrative and kind of the calling of the disciples. It's like a great pilot episode, if you think about it, and thinking about it, and kind of setting the stage for the characters that are going to be involved in the story. If you really look at Mark in that way, you can really kind of see almost a dramatic build in Mark as it starts with an introduction of characters and then kind of gets that main story as they journey towards the end of towards Easter.
Yeah, we talked a while ago about Star Wars. Now, Brad's seen it, I haven't, so I don't want him to spoil anything for me. But an interesting feature of film, comedy, even sitcoms, is the callback. And so when Brad mentioned that we've already done John the Baptist, we're going to be calling back to that because he's that figure that we talk about preparing the way. And boom, right off the bat, Mark does a callback. At the beginning of the gospel of God, here it is, and Jesus Christ, as Isaiah said. That's callback. So, where do you think these comedians and plot storyline has come from, where they make a callback to an event? Well, here it happens in the Bible. And so pay attention to those callbacks. And we don't really expect on this first Sunday you to take a lot of time and maybe craft some sort of response. Send us an email to our weekly email that will come out and have this video in it. because of Christmas. We know you're going to be busy, but we want to get the word out, and we'll try to do this maybe from time to time. Brad and I will sit down and we'll talk about something related, maybe as a season comes up. Lent's coming up early this year, and so we may want to talk about a little bit of that in relationship to this long arc or this narrative arc of the story of Jesus. So, any last thoughts you have, Brad?
I say take Mark 1 for the next couple of weeks. We're going to kind of celebrate Christmas up until, even though we'll be going into the new year, Christmas takes these next two weeks. And even maybe think about it in relation to the Psalm passages. We'll go in from a worship standpoint and understanding those kind of connections. It's not always praise, sometimes it's lament, even in the midst of Christmas.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Pay attention to those kind of underlining themes as well.
Yeah, good. Well, all right. It's kind of just off the cuff here, but we wanted to throw something together. And so if we don't see you before Friday, we hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.